It is 10:01. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee quarterback Joey Agalar has been granted a temporary restraining order against NCAA eligibility rules by a Knoxville judge, according to a report by Adam Sparks. The TRO is a temporary measure, as Agalar will have an injunction hearing on Friday. On the hardwood, Nate Ament scored 28 points with 6 rebounds and 4 assists as Tennessee, at number 25, rolled past Ole Miss 84-66. They improve to 6-3 in SEC play. The Belmont Bruins won an 8th straight game, a 103-90 win over Drake. They improved to 21-3. In NFL news, the Jets are hiring former Colts and Panthers head coach Frank Reich to be the offensive coordinator under Aaron Glenn, replacing the fired Tanner Engstrand. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Well, it's timely that we had a conversation about what's harder to find between a franchise coach and a franchise quarterback yesterday, because we do have some comments from a former Titans head coach on a potential franchise quarterback to get to this morning. Hope you're off to a great start on this dreary Wednesday. 615-737-1045, the number if you would like to participate there. The F&M Bank chat is also available. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. If you would like to leave some comments there that we can talk about throughout the course of the morning. Lucas, Robert, me with you until 1 o'clock. Good morning, boys.
Morning.
You two talking amongst each other?
Yes.
What high-level production conversations are we having about the direction of the show this morning?
Just a number of things, housekeeping things to mention before we get the show started.
What,
we will have tickets
for lunch.
That.
That's probably.
I'm not hungry. Robert brought me a chicken biscuit.
Oh, that's right, the chicken biscuit. It was good too, boy.
It was good.
I wasn't sure if you were doing a thing there, if you just mispronuncified.
That's how you say it.
Chicken biscuit.
That's too close to potentially problematic words. I don't want to do that.
I don't even know what word you're speaking of, but we do have a number of things to give away today for Dumbest Thing in Sports. We've got Godsmack tickets.
Okay.
When's the last time you guys listened to Godsmack?
I've never.
On the way in.
Oh, that's not true.
On the way in.
I'll play some Godsmack today to remind you what's going on with them. And Athletes Unlimited. We got some tickets for them. Winning Wednesday on 104.5 The Zone with Athletes Unlimited Pro Basketball as it comes to Nashville's Municipal Auditorium for Season 5 now through March 1st. If you've listened to the station at all, you've heard Ron Slay talk about Tahina Pow Pow. She will be there along with other female basketball players. You can check them out. We got tickets today at 11 o'clock.
Is Dawn doing sidelines for that again? She did last year, right?
It's a great question. I'm not aware, but if you'd like to win those tickets in the 11 o'clock hour, save the number 615-737-1045.
Very good. All right, so resident Titans fan on the show, Lucas Panzica. How are you consuming the Super Bowl this week?
Oh, buddy's house. You know, having some folks over. I'll probably supply some Hattie B's hot chicken, and we'll sit back and gorge myself and watch the game.
Well, that is a literal definition of how are you consuming the Super Bowl, which I think is a fair way to talk about that. Are you interested at all in any storylines as a Titans fan in the Super Bowl, like the idea that you could have hired Mike McDonald and instead hired Brian Callahan? Are you at all invested in any level other than apathy in the Mike Vrabel thing? Are you paying close attention to the quarterback situation? Like, what is the Titans fan perspective on the Super Bowl, since Robert and I can't manage that?
I mean, I guess some Titans fans will watch it in the if and buts, candy and nuts phase of mind, as Coach Mack would put it. But I also would venture to say that the majority of Titans fans aren't interested in this would be us if we still had Mike Vrabel as the head coach discourse, because I don't necessarily think that is the case.
I think there's, again, just consuming it via social media, it seems there's a component that's rooting for him. There seems to be a component that's rooting against him. There is probably a larger component that's not worried about it at all and just is more interested in who the Titans are going to hire to coach outside linebackers at this point in time. Super Bowl week is always a weird week because it's just the one game to talk about. And, I mean, I don't know. We'll do some granular X's and O's stuff with Greg Cosell tomorrow and Coach Dave McGinnis on Friday for the actual football component of this. But just in terms of interest level, and we kind of touched on this yesterday, I think that Nashville has a more polarized opinion on this particular Super Bowl than a lot of other random markets might, right? Like Jacksonville is not heavily invested in the Super Bowl. They don't know as many of the components. They don't have a rooting interest one way or the other. Arizona does not have a rooting interest one way or the other in the Super Bowl unless you're just a Seahawks hater in your own division and you want to see Seattle crumble after making it to the final game. Is there a worse pain in sports than making it to the final game and losing? Because I would say that is the worst experience in all of sports as both a fan, a coach, a player, to have survived all the trials and tribulations of a season, to have made it to the national championship, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, the Super Bowl, only to have your entire season's work come crashing down as you watch confetti that is not the colors of your own team fall on your head and you sit there and you sob.
Depending on how the game ends, I suppose. The Seahawks are still 4.5-point favorites, I believe, in Super Bowl 60. They are. I'm just looking at ESPN Bet. I think there is this feeling of if this game is going to be a blowout, it's going to be Seattle blowing out New England, just because I'd say Seattle is the team that outguns the Patriots as opposed to the other way around. And it's hard to ignore New England's path to getting to this point. If Sam Darnold plays like he did in the last couple of playoff games, it will be a markedly different challenge than what the Patriots have seen in terms of opposing quarterbacks so far in the postseason. I do tend to think that the Patriots are going to find a way to make this a close game, to be in position to win the game. But will Seattle just have more? Will they just have more in their arsenal? Are they just a more well-rounded football team? Can that be overcome by the Patriots, who probably are not going to have some of the advantages that they have had in their favor during this playoff run?
And I think it's almost as interesting to see if Drake May indoors. Well, no, I guess San Francisco's not an indoor environment. What's the weather supposed to be like for the game? That I actually haven't looked into because I think that would play a significant factor. Seattle's used to playing in the elements. So is New England coming off the AFC Championship game. Because I think we're kind of waiting for Drake May to look like MVP Drake May, except do it against actual NFL opponents, right? Instead of the easiest strength of schedule in the regular season of any of the 32 NFL teams. Because they have played, like the path to get to the playoffs is different than the path to get to the Super Bowl, right? They have played challenging defenses at every turn, and they've done it scoring, what, is it like 15.4 points per game or something disgusting like that? It's 54 total points to reach the Super Bowl, the lowest amount of points scored in postseason play to reach a Super Bowl.
It'll be low 60s, high 50s, overcast, slight chance of rain, which Seattle will be used to.
So, yeah, Seattle will certainly be used to that. It'd be damn near tropical for New England, especially given the situation that they just played through to get through the AFC Championship game. Cameron Sanders says losing last second is worse, a.k.a. Seahawks, the last time the Seahawks and Patriots played. Sure, I mean, I don't know. If you're Peyton Manning, is that the worst sports experience you've ever had? That, what was it, like 42-8 final against the Seahawks with the Broncos, where the first snap wasn't the first offensive snap, was a safety.
Yeah, it was a total blowout.
Like, I have to imagine that when Peyton Manning thinks about all the great things that he's accomplished, the things that stick with him longer are the haunting losses, and that's got to be one of the most haunting losses of Peyton Manning's career. Go ahead, Robert. Oh, I thought you had something to say.
I did, but I was conversing back here. So for me, what would be worse than losing would be something like what happened to the Pacers last year in the finals, where you lose and
Halliburton.
your best player gets hurt, or like the Warriors-Raptors finals, where KD comes back to try to fight to get you back into it, and then he gets hurt. And not only do you lose the ultimate game of this season, you've also taken yourself out of the running for the ultimate game of next season, like Dre Greenlaw tearing his Achilles in the Super Bowl, or who else is on this list? Chris Jones suffering a knee injury. Like, get one of your better players getting hurt in the game that you also lost would be a bad feeling.
Who was the Seahawks defensive player that won MVP?
Malcolm Smith.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's one of the most random Super Bowl MVP winners of all time. It's like the Andre Iguodala MVP in the Golden State Warriors finals. Not that Iguodala wasn't a bad player. Malcolm Smith was a good player. Like, he went to the Raiders. He didn't do much after that, I don't think, on a decent contract. But he had the play of the game. One of the biggest plays of the game for the Legion of Boom. Bustin' Diamond says, I would still think that the worst is 28-3 blown lead, where you think you have it in hand, but Tom Brady's on the other side. All of a sudden, you're losing with a 25-point lead in the biggest game of the year, the biggest game of your career.
James White should have won that MVP. Go look at his stats. Tom Brady just dumped the ball off the entire game.
For the 28-3?
Yes. I'm going to pull it up. Let me find his stats, and this will support the fact if we're talking about unnamed MVPs, just like Jacoby Jones should have won MVP in that Ravens Super Bowl.
Jacoby Jones should have won MVP.
He had like 3 touchdowns.
Awesome. That whole playoff, he was awesome because he had the touchdown reception against Denver.
Correct.
Right on the blown coverage in overtime. Yeah. It's always interesting to see how they end up assigning those things. But like, as a sports fan, what is your most painful sports memory, Lucas?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, so you're a Tennessee fan. I imagine
There's a lot.
Beyond like just coaching tenures generally, like a game.
Yeah.
A game, live experience, whether you're in the stadium. Because I maybe that Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma game.
That was a tough one. I was in the stands for that one. I think when you're younger, it hits you harder.
Sure.
The 2007 SEC championship hit me pretty hard. But no, I have to say 2009, easily. The 2009 Alabama game. Terrence Cody, blocked field goal, blocked field goals. I cried. I was in 8th grade, living in Alabama as a diehard Tennessee fan. That one was hard.
Robert, I have to imagine Billy Cundiff's missed field goal is up there for you.
That is the one that made me cry. I probably drunkenly cried after the Zay Flowers end zone fumble by L'Jarius Sneed or the Mark Andrews draw. I mean, I've just had gut-punching losses like the last 4 years. So, I mean, I'm kind of numb to it. The Tyler Loop missed field goal to not go to the playoffs this year. Well, it wasn't. It wasn't. No? Because it was like someone pulled the thorn out of the lion's paw. Like, I'm like, okay, finally I don't have to hurt anymore. And I realized,
sweet release.
Yeah, thank the Lord. I don't have to fight for this team anymore. Like, I can be done with
differently this year than I feel like I've seen you do in years past.
James White in that Super Bowl. Only 11 carries for 31 yards, but 14 catches for 110 yards.
Wow. No any touchdowns?
And a touchdown.
Yeah,
and a touchdown.
Maybe he should have been. That would have been a great trivia question. Who was MVP of the 28-3 comeback if it was James White?
For a lot of Titans fans, I imagine it's that Bengals playoff game. I mean, I'm sure Dyson is up there. Just recency bias, though.
Top 3, I am imagining for the majority of time. I was a toddler during the Super Bowl, so I'd be lying if I was, cognizant enough in my sports fandom to be truly heartbroken. I remember it very vaguely, but top 3 would have to be Super Bowl loss, Bengals loss as the 1 seed, and Ravens loss as the 1 seed. That is who I would guess, the majority of top 3 most heartbreaking Titans losses would be for people.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's Indiana as a number 1 seed in March Madness in 2013, losing to a 4-seed Syracuse team 61-50 because Tom Crean could not, for the life of him, manage that 2-3 zone by Jim Boeheim. That's as drunk I think as I've ever been. Like that was a deeply unpleasant experience. Like junior year in college, maybe sophomore year of college. Just absolutely. Like, where you're not even in it. Like, that, I think, is worse, where you get to a game of consequence, and this isn't a championship game or anything like that, but you get to a game of consequence, and you just don't got it. You don't got a chance. That's as bad a sports experience as I've ever had in my life. So, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll talk more about the game itself this week. We will get to some Mike Vrabel audio on Drake May, because it does play into our conversation about franchise quarterbacks and franchise coaches that we had yesterday, and also the idea of, can Robert Saleh, as a defensive background head coach, contribute to the development of Cam Ward in the same way that Mike Vrabel, while he's not calling the offensive plays for Drake May, is directly contributing to the development of Drake May. So we'll get to some audio on that a little later in the show. Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel will join us next. Nothing worse than a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. I'm sure many of you have dealt with something like that, given the weather that we've had in the last couple of weeks. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly, or if someone is just trying to sell you something. That's when you call Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. The price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and is family-owned and operated. Their techs are professional, experienced, and trustworthy. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time. No more wasting time waiting around. 100% satisfaction guaranteed of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That is the Happy Hiller promise. So book online today at happyhiller.com.
Will Joey Agalar be playing football for Tennessee in 2026? A little bit of news on that reported by Adam Sparks, who joins us now. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Adam, good morning.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Fantastic. Can you give us the latest on what you reported today? What does this temporary restraining order granted to Joey Agalar by a judge in Knox County mean for his potential return to Tennessee in 2026?
Yeah, so the TRO, he didn't have to get the TRO, but it was going to help his case if he did. TRO just means for the next 2 weeks, the NCAA cannot enforce its eligibility rules. Now, in the Charles Bediako case in Alabama, that sort of gave them the leeway to let him play. Tennessee football is obviously not in season right now, so it doesn't mean a lot. It just leads into the next step, which is a preliminary injunction hearing. That hearing will be in Knoxville Chancery Court on Friday. Don't think a ruling will come immediately, but if he were to win that, if Joey were to win that injunction hearing, it would most likely mean that he's won the case in terms of his eligibility. I mean, there are a few things that could happen between then and the season, but most likely the case would move so slowly that if he won the injunction hearing, he would be eligible. I've been calling around and asking what other scenarios could happen to his eligibility if he wins the injunction hearing, and it would go to appeals. The case would probably drag out well into late into the year, and at that point it would be sort of too late for the NCAA to reverse course. So it's not an absolute certainty, but if he wins the injunction hearing on Friday, he's going to be Tennessee's quarterback in 2026 season.
Friday, a pivotal day for Tennessee fans. Because, I mean, Adam, understanding that it's a process for him to regain that eligibility, he's their best option at quarterback if he's available, right? Yeah,
he is. I mean, he was imperfect last year. Had a pick six against Alabama, had a couple picks against Oklahoma. He still threw for almost 400 yards against Oklahoma and Georgia. So he was good. He led the SEC in passing yards. He was good, but not great last year. I think he would be at least good. Don't know if he'd be great, but he would at least be good this next season. And George McIntyre was a promising recruit. They still like him. They think he's still developing. Faison Brandon comes in. He just enrolled a couple weeks ago. He's 5-star, but he's a freshman. For whatever fans think, and a lot of people have different opinions if they should move on or if Joey coming back is the best scenario. What really matters is that obviously Josh Heupel thought that a veteran quarterback was their best option. That's why they went into the portal and tried to find one. Now they were somewhat picky about that. They wanted Sorsby, didn't get him. They wanted Levitt, didn't get him. They could have gotten Bo Perbula from Missouri. They were sort of lukewarm on him, which told you they wanted a veteran quarterback, but it had to be a premier veteran quarterback. And they think Joey is at least in that range. And also, I mean, think about this. I mean, I'm not saying he's Hendon Hooker, but Hendon Hooker got a lot better at a lot of things in his second year in the offense.
Mm.
And I think they think that Joey could make some of those strides if he does get eligible and comes back.
Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel, knoxnews.com is where you can read all of his reporting, his colleagues' reporting on the Tennessee Vols. Because, I mean, I'm just thinking about this and externally, right? I'm looking at this from a 1,000-foot view. Josh Heupel's making staff changes, firings for the first time in his career, as we've talked to you about before. He's in a situation where, understanding that they may have finished right about where they should have finished relative to expectation. The path there was different, and it brought up some questions about Heupel's in-game decision-making and things like that. Like, I have to think if you're Josh Heupel, you want the security of Joey Agalar in year 2 in your offense because that gives you the best chance to take a step forward and take some of the pressure off you at this point.
Yeah, I think security is a good word. I mean, Josh Heupel is an aggressive play caller, but in terms of like a manager of his roster, he is definitely a bird in the hand type guy. Like, what I know works is what I want to stick to, especially with his offense. And he knows he can put up points and yards with Joey Aguilar. Could he with George McIntyre or Faison Brandon? Maybe in time, but we don't really know. He knows he can do it with Joey Aguilar. They led the SEC in scoring. The offense looked more like what it did when it was really rolling a 3 years ago. He's very comfortable in the offense. Joey knows where the ball's supposed to go. And, yeah, you could see their strategy in the portal. They just dumped a lot of money and time and resources into the defense. You can tell when they got Jim Knowles from Penn State as their defensive coordinator. They essentially told him, tell us which players you want to run your scheme, and we'll go get those guys, and we will pay those guys. And that's what they did. On the defense, I count, maybe 7 new starters just from out of the portal on defense. Almost the whole secondary is going to be portal guys. There'll be at least probably 2 D linemen. There'll be probably 1 linebacker, all starting. And all those portal guys they got on defense will be playing. So that's where their attention went. I think Josh Heupel looked at his offense and said, or 5 offensive linemen coming back that started at least a portion of last season. Your all-SEC running backs back, and Deshaun Bishop, SEC Freshman of the Year, plus Mike Matthews. Both those guys back at wide receiver. They like Ethan Davis as a athletic tight end. All the pieces are sort of there on offense for them to continue rolling. The big question was just, what do you do at quarterback? And if it's Joey Aguilar, then it's just business as usual.
Adam Sparks of Knox News with us. You pointed out in your reporting the path that Agalar is taking here, as similar as it is to Alabama basketball player Charles Bediako, Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss. Not necessarily in terms of the circumstances. They're arguing very different things, but Bediako took the path of having a temporary restraining order granted by a judge in Tuscaloosa that is famously an Alabama donor, right? Chambliss is doing the same thing about a mile away from campus in Mississippi. Agalar is doing this in Knox County Court. The TRO was granted by a judge that is a Tennessee alum, right? If I'm not mistaken, is that the same judge that will conduct this hearing on Friday? And what does that mean for how optimistic Tennessee fans should be about this?
Yeah, it's Christopher Haggerty, pretty well-respected judge. But, yeah, his resume is he's a 2-time UT grad. That's the strategy, and it's obvious that you're going to get a more favorable ruling in a local court. That's why all these guys are doing it. It's also just expedient. It's quick. The Diego Pavia case in federal court has been dragging out now for over a year. This one was filed. The lawsuit was filed, I think, on Friday, and the request for a TRO was yesterday, and that's already been ruled on, like at 8:20 this morning. And they're going to have an injunction hearing on Friday. So it's moving fast. There's also another element to Joey leaving the Pavia case, is that there were 27 plaintiffs on the Pavia case. They're all former junior college players, and they all had different arguments of why they thought they should be eligible. Joey's is a little more narrow and specific, and so he separated from that one so he could make his and only his argument, which his argument is different because, he's played 3 NCAA seasons. This would be his 8th year of college football, but the others were junior college seasons. So he's arguing that junior college should not count as part of NCAA eligibility. Whether it's right or wrong, it's reasonable. Junior colleges are not in NCAA member schools. But then also he has the additional argument that he'll make a lot of money. If this is an antitrust suit, he'll make a lot of money if he can return. And even in his complaint, he mentions that a roster spot is being held for him at UT, and his estimated projected NIL payout will be about $2 million. So you're telling the court that an association is preventing me from receiving $2 million someone is willing to pay me. That's sort of the argument, underneath the, just the argument for eligibility. So by him separating from the Pavia case, he gets to make that argument on his own rather than mixing it in with 27 other arguments.
Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel. Not Adam at Adam Sparks is where you can follow him on Twitter, of course. How much are you met with a refrain that I'm seeing a lot of in our YouTube chat as we live stream the show today, Adam? The idea that I'm a diehard, one of the commenters, right? I'm a diehard VFL, but I don't want Joey to come back. It's so dumb, not because I think he sucks, but he's too old. It's bad for the sport. Are you being met with a lot of that from Vols fans?
Yeah, I think I've said this the last couple of days. I think it's about a third of the fan base, from what I can gather, about a third of the fan base says, nah, I want to move on. Now, some of them want to move on because they want to see McIntyre and Faison Brandon. Some of them want to move on because they say it's bad for the sport, sets a bad precedent. Yeah, it's good for Tennessee in 2026, but you're going to regret this after that you sort of open Pandora's box even more, if you could even do that in college football these days. I think that's about a third of the fan base. I'd say maybe half of the fan base says, awesome, Joey will be back. Everybody else is, exploiting rules to get their best players in the field. Let's do it too. I'd say that's about half the fan base. And then the remainder is just kind of throws their hands up in the air and said, well, I'll just let me know when it's all over who the quarterback is, and I'll accept it however it is. So, yeah, it's not – I mean, there is a division in the fan base about what's good for Tennessee versus good for the sport, and is that the same thing? The age thing is the biggest one because he'll be 25 years old by the time next season starts. And a lot of people say, well, junior college is not in the NCAA, but maybe you should have been in the NCAA before that. He would have loved to have been in it, but he wasn't. So it does ask a lot of questions about where the sport will go if this goes through. That being said, Joey's case will only affect Joey. It won't affect everybody else.
Adam, as we speak, both Pete Nakos and Pete Thamel are reporting that the expectation is the injunction hearing will be next Friday the 13th, although Agalar and his team pushed for this Friday, as you have obviously reported. They're saying it's going to happen next Friday, which will be 3 days after the Diego Pavia hearing. So kind of a two-part question here. Could the Pavia hearing, even though Agalar is no longer a part of it, have any impact on Joey Agalar? And either way, if that hearing does happen for Joey next Friday, do we expect some level of finality at that point?
I'm going to have to check if some other ruling came out, but because I'm looking at the TRO right now, and it's February 6th, which is in 2 days, is the hearing, unless some other something else has been issued in the last few minutes while I've been on. If Joey wins the injunction, that's probably going to bring finality to his, because the case will then be dragged out well into the season. It'll go through appeals and all that. So most likely if he wins the injunction, that's finality for Joey for the season. It would not mean it for anybody else, just in his case, unless there was another player in Tennessee that wanted to get eligible and had the same fact pattern as his, but it's not the same fact pattern. That's why he left. If Pavia gets an injunction in that case, that would be more precedent. Then a lot of other orders. It would affect only the plaintiffs in that case, but then his attorneys could ask for an order for it to almost turn into a class action, where it would just affect anybody with a similar fact pattern as them. So the Pavia case would be much more widespread. Joey's would be very narrow, maybe just Joey.
Adam, buddy, we appreciate the time and the reporting as always. Thank you.
All right, guys. You'll have a good one.
That is Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel.
A developing story, to say the least.
It's just exhausting.
It is. It is, man. I mean, people are torn a little bit, I think. I think there are college football fans that are just so sick of this cat and mouse game of there being no rules. So programs and departments and teams essentially doing everything they can to bend the rules in their favor. And a lot of those same people simultaneously probably are saying, well, yeah, I want my team to exhaust every option as well if other teams are going to do it. Agalar's case is very different from Bediako and from Trinidad Chambliss. They're all arguing very different things, but they're all kind of taking similar paths to get there. So hopefully we know by next Friday whether or not Joey Agalar will be playing for Tennessee next year. we do know that because of the TRO, he can participate in winter workouts and be with the team during this window of time.
So how would this, a two-part question. One, how does this affect his NFL eligibility? Because if he's going through all-season training with you guys, does that mean he's not preparing for the combine or throwing drills or what have you? And then two, if you had to put a number on it about your positivity, optimism that he would play for the Vols this year, where would you put that at? 40%? 30%?
Well, he's not training for the combine or anything like that, right? There's no information out there about him making any efforts to get involved in the NFL pre-draft process because he stands to make more money at Tennessee.
For sure. That is part of the argument, Robert, that Joey Agalar has to know one way or another. This cannot drag out. He has to know if his only recourse is to go ahead and pursue his NFL career now. But if Pete Thamel and Pete Nakos' reporting is correct that the hearing will be next Friday, it's hard to imagine Joey Agalar invited to the combine, right, which is 2 weeks after that. So it puts him in a weird spot. It seems like it is pedal to the metal, all out, and trying to get another year at Tennessee. And to your question about what percentage I'd put on it, this is happening in Knox County. As long as the judge that is overseeing this situation is the same judge that granted him the temporary restraining order, I'm going to be pretty optimistic. I'm going to sit here and say 65, 70% confident that Joey Agalar plays for Tennessee next year. I guess these situations can go any which way, but Tennessee in recent history has had a pretty good record of going up against the NCAA.
Now, while the situations are not a one-to-one comparison, would you feel a little bit pot calling the kettle black after Tennessee fans have come at Bediako so hard the last couple weeks, and then you get your guy to come back even though he had to fight for it? Would you feel a little bit like the blood is on your hands? Look, we've already made fun of him for this.
Yeah, me personally, no, because we did talk about the Bediako case and some of the ridiculousness of it. But on the other hand, I have said I don't blame Nate Oates for this. I want my team to do this. Yes.
Do it.
We talked about those comments Danny White had a couple weeks ago complaining about tampering and how there's these rules and nobody follows them. And at Tennessee, we're going to follow these rules. Why? Just go for it. Everybody else is doing it.
Your job.
Yeah, so I'm totally good with it. But there are a lot of Tennessee fans that were going at Alabama, calling them classless.
That's stupid.
And, I mean, they will say it's because of Bediako's situation. You can't go pro and come back, which I do believe is a step too far. But I was saying at that point, I'm not going to bash Nate Oates for this. He's doing what he's got to do.
It comes back to the fundamental reason why we're in this situation. The Supreme Court of the United States told the NCAA that the way that they have orchestrated this thing is unconstitutional. You cannot tell Joey Agalar that he has the opportunity to make $2 million in this particular situation, $2 million plus in this particular situation, and cite some arbitrary eligibility rule about a different level of college football that doesn't apply to him. It's unconstitutional. You have to understand, if you're somebody who's bitching and moaning about this, that the thing that you have loved, the way that you love it, is not right. It's not right for the labor. And I understand that it's better for you as a fan, or that you want it a certain kind of way as a fan, but it doesn't make it right at the end of the day. You can vehemently disagree with the changes that are happening to collegiate athletics while also acknowledging it is professional sports. It is more professional sports than the UFL. It's more professional sports than the G League. It makes more money. It has higher interest. It has a significantly higher level of investment. These are not amateur athletes because they never have been.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous argument.
Well, it's not about are they or are they not amateur athletes. I mean, Agalar, it's an eligibility thing, right? And to me, I think the argument is sound that.
Right. I'm just saying, like, fans are saying, they're playing against kids. Yeah, but the kids are pro athletes.
For sure. In principle, like, we're way past that.
But some people are not.
No, 100%. And I get that. Like, people grew up with the sport a certain way. It's hard. It's hard to wrap your head around, okay, how do we make this to where it's not just, running in place and trying to make it something it's not, while also keeping it the spirit of what it was. But we'll see how this plays out.
Well, have we robbed your SEC observations?
No, a pretty big performance on Rocky Top last night.
Do a little basketball coming up next.
Only 2 games in the footprint on the hardwood last night. Texas beating South Carolina at home, and Tennessee rolling past Ole Miss 84-66. The Vols cracked back into the top 25 with the AP poll that came out over the weekend and get a win over the Rebels, who are struggling and are now 3-6 in SEC play. Chris Beard is throwing tantrums and getting thrown out of the game. Did you guys see this? Chris Beard blowing up in the second half and getting thrown out, was about to be escorted off the court, and then he ran back onto the court into the huddle and bodied an Ole Miss player as he was running back into the huddle, shouting some, I guess, what was supposed to be inspiring, fire back into his team, and then they proceeded to continue to get blown out for the rest of the game.
I took a nap during the Tennessee game because Indiana played USC at 9 p.m. last night. I don't want to kill somebody.
Fun.
He got his money's worth. If you're going to get ejected,
Beard?
you might as well do
this?
it like this. Yes. And I don't know if he was screaming obscenities. They could have been niceties. I'm not a lip reader, but if you're going to get thrown out like the old Atlanta Braves Bobby Cox, go out there and kick some dirt on the umpire's feet, throw the bag, throw the ball boy, throw the bats all over. If you're going to get thrown out, get your money's worth.
Agreed. We don't get enough of that anymore in sports.
Coaches losing their mind?
Yeah, in basketball.
Did you not see the Notre Dame coach? Not that long ago, he ran after a ref and
I did see
chased
that.
him down the tunnel.
All right, well, yeah, let's not put other people in danger. But
a month ago.
I want to see more of this. To your point, Robert, if you're going to get thrown out, make the most of it. Chris Beard made the absolute most of it. He caused a scene, and Ole Miss gets outscored by 17 points in the second half. Tennessee 16-6, 6-3 in SEC play, starting to get on a roll here. They have won 4 consecutive games, and it is in large part due to the play of Nate Ament, who is starting to come into his own, to come out of his shell a little bit. He's taking guys on. He's being more assertive under the basket. He's shooting from deep, and he's making from deep. In the last 6 games, Nate Ament, who had 28 points last night on 9 of 15 shooting, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. In the last 6 games, he's averaging 23 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game. He's shooting 45% from the floor, 42% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line, propping up a Tennessee team that is one of the worst teams in the country at free throw shooting. If it wasn't for Nate Ament shooting that 80%, they maybe would be outside of the top 300 of Division I basketball teams. It's really bad right now. They were not good from the line last night, 13 of 21. But if this Tennessee team is going to make a run in March, it's going to be because Nate Ament realizes the potential that has been tabbed to him. People talk about him like he's a bona fide first-round draft pick with that skill set, that size at 6'11".
Definitely intriguing. Oh, yeah, a bona fide first-round draft pick? Oh, yeah. I'd say that's a fair estimation.
Yeah, he's a one-and-done. He's got one-and-done written all over him. If Tennessee's going to make a deep run in March, it's because Nate Ament starts to round into that type of player that he's projected as on the NBA level. And cool to see Rick Barnes give him a little smile coming off the court. You don't see that happen very often during game action.
Well, Rick Barnes too busy trying to make jokes about his players and free throws and missing. He made a very uncomfortable joke about he thinks his players are sometimes betting on games, and then he realized what he did. I assume because he saw his SID's face and be like, no, Rick, no. He literally put his hand in front of his mouth as if to hide behind his hand with the body language that was like, oh, I just stepped in it, forgetting that, there's federal investigations right now into the NBA and college basketball.
Yeah, Rick Barnes, he'll kind of...
That was not after this Ole Miss game. This was the other night.
He was talking about after Saturday, I believe, Tennessee was able to outlast Auburn. In fact, Robert, I'm sending the audio to you now. Tennessee outlasted, oh, you do have it. Rick Barnes was just commenting on some of the terrible turnovers Tennessee had in that game. They were able to get the win. Were able to send Stephen Pearl packing in his first trip to Knoxville, where he went to school and played for his dad as Auburn's head coach. But, yeah, Vols getting on a bit of a run here. And this is Rick Barnes after the Auburn game Saturday.
At the end of the game, some of the passes that we throw, I don't know what to say other than sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. I shouldn't say that, but, that's what erase that. I don't want to say that. But I just wonder what's happening. Because I know we're too good of players to do that. Was that a bad... I apologize.
backpedaling.
I should not have said that.
It's like McCoy. Mike McCoy did something like that. I think it was the one game that Restrepo played, and he was talking about, like, I think we asked him post game, like, how many what was the conversation like with Cam? He was like, bet the over or something like that. He's like, wait,
Oh,
not in
hold on.
on Restrepo catches or something like that. Just very quickly realizing, oh no, we can't talk about those things. We can't even joke about those things.
But the timing of this is, I mean, what was it like? Less than a month ago that this
it's
point shaving scandal rocked college basketball. So
we are certainly not that far removed from all things Ferris State and all this kind of stuff that's going on. Erase that is a funny line.
But Tennessee's won 4 in a row. They've won 5 of their last 6. If not for that meltdown against Kentucky, they would be on 6 in a row. But you wonder if that served as some sort of learning lesson for this team, who has been closer to the best version of themselves since that game. They have supplied the only loss to Texas A&M's conference slate, as A&M currently leads the pack in the SEC, and Tennessee gets a little revenge opportunity Saturday at Kentucky.
You mentioned Chris Beard, and Ole Miss is now 500. They're 11-11.
Yeah, that's struggling.
That was viewed as a pretty big deal when Ole Miss was, understanding the legal situation that was surrounding Chris Beard when he was ultimately let go from his previous stop. Then he goes to Ole Miss, and it felt like that was a really quality ad, provided that, his off-the-court issues would not have any kind of impact on his new opportunity in Oxford, but they have been bad.
He's done a nice job leading up to this year. I mean, 2 20-win seasons. He got them to the Sweet 16 a year ago, but yeah, I'm not going to pretend to know the ins and outs of why Ole Miss is sitting here at 11-11 overall. I do feel like Malik Dia has not taken that step as an SEC Player of the Year candidate that I think many hoped. A local guy, Ensworth, started at Vanderbilt, or at Belmont, played at Vanderbilt, and now at Ole Miss. And really nice player, but he's averaging 13.5 points per game. Last night did not have a huge impact. I'm sure their problems go deeper than that. But Ole Miss struggling out of the gates here in SEC play.
Robert, I have Godsmack tickets. Did I say that right? Godsmack?
It's Godsmack.
Godsmack.
Yes, we have Godsmack tickets to give away. No, it's like Godsmack. What are you talking about?
I didn't know if it was Gobsmack or something like that.
That's a good name for a band.
Ashton Gene T. Gobsmack.
Listen,
Gobsmack.
It's not hard to figure out where I have glaring weaknesses as far as my knowledge base goes. Music is definitely not a point of strength, which is funny because I went and talked to a friend of mine. She's an entertainment lawyer. Went and talked to my friend's class this morning at Belmont's music school. I was like, I don't know what possible value add I could have today. That's not a fine.
Oh, I went and talked to some kids at Belmont today. Look how important I am.
Ramon had to tell me I still had my name tag on when I walked in this morning.
What did it say, Andrew?
That would have been funny.
Hey, shout out Belmont basketball. 8 straight wins, 21-3, leading the Missouri Valley at the moment.
I get a little Belmont basketball next week after Super Bowl for sure. So if you want the opportunity to win some Godsmack tickets, 615-737-1045 is the number. Just call in and tell us the dumbest thing in sports this week.
11:02. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee quarterback Joey Agalar has been granted a temporary restraining order against NCAA eligibility rules by a Knoxville judge. According to a report by Adam Sparks, the TRO is a temporary measure as Agalar will have an injunction hearing that was initially set for this Friday and reportedly will be next Friday on the 13th. On the hardwood, Nate Ament scored 28 with 6 rebounds and 4 assists as number 25 Tennessee rolled past Ole Miss 84-66. They improve to 6-3 in SEC play, winning a 4th straight game. And the Belmont Bruins won an 8th straight with a 103-90 win over Drake. They improve to 21-3 overall. In NFL news, the Jets are hiring former Colts and Panthers head coach Frank Reich to be the offensive coordinator under Aaron Glenn. He replaces the fired Tanner Engstrand. Tonight, the Nashville Predators continue their homestand, taking on the Wild, 7 p.m. The puck drop at Bridgestone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
For the opportunity to win Godsmack tickets, 615-737-1045. Call in and tell us what the dumbest thing in sports this week is. I could very easily make mine Lucas Panzica, who just went to reach for a giant bucket of peanut butter M&Ms that sits behind him. For some reason, decided to pick the thing up by the lid, as opposed to, grabbing it by the side like a normal person would. And instead of being able to experience the tasty delights that are peanut butter M&Ms, you instead did what?
I mean, the thing just came off. Somebody did not properly screw the top back on.
How many peanut M&Ms would you estimate are just strewn about in the studio behind you?
Whatever was left, because there's nothing in the bucket.
There might be
Did you dump out the whole thing? That thing was...
Basically.
There's at least a quarter of the bucket full there.
Well, I'll just put them back in, and nobody will be the wiser.
Well, Robert will eat them.
Just put some water in there, wash them off, dump it out.
Shake it up a little bit.
Zhuzh them up with some water.
Go get like a pasta colander or something like that to strain it out.
Why are all these M&Ms white?
Who just puts the lid back, just props it back on? Like, screw the lid back on.
For what it's
That's
worth,
crazy.
I think it was me. I think I was the one that did that.
Yeah, because you were pilfering the M&Ms yesterday.
I did have some M&Ms yesterday. It could have been me. Could very well have been me.
It's like when somebody, the salt prank, when somebody just kind of sets the top of the salt shaker back on, so you dump the whole thing on your meal.
You had 5 seconds. The 5-second rule still applies. As Tyler on the YouTube chat points out. No, my dumbest thing in sports this week, can it be a thing that hasn't happened yet, but that I know is going to happen? Is that allowed within the parameters of the dumbest thing in sports? A thing that has not yet happened, but I know will be dumb.
We'll allow it.
Okay. The dumbest thing in sports this week is going to be any dialogue around Bad Bunny. All of it. Just mind-numbingly idiotic. And listen, I'm not even here to... We didn't talk about his speech at the Grammys and all the stuff going on around ICE. Like, I don't care what you think about any of that. Any of you. On one side or the other. I don't care. I don't care what he thinks about it. I care that everybody is now being asked this question at Super Bowl week. Goodell got asked if he would consider pulling Bad Bunny from the halftime show, to which he very quickly and correctly said, no, we're not considering at all replacing Bad Bunny as one of the biggest recording artists going right now and somebody who just won Album of the Year. That's a huge win for the NFL to have him up there. No, it's things like this. You saw, I don't know if you did see, the Athletic did some reporting on this, where they're basically going and asking unnamed players about how they feel about the halftime show, like the players are even going to get to see the performance, other than that one kicker for the Bengals a couple of years ago.
Evan McPherson.
Yeah. So this is one of the quotes from an NFC offensive player. I don't even know who Bad Bunny is. I always think it should be an American. I think they're trying too hard with the international stuff. You moron, Puerto Rico is an American territory. Bad Bunny is an American citizen. How are we this stupid? How are we this mind-numbingly dumb? And I already know. I already know that as soon as this thing goes down on Sunday afternoon, that the entirety of the internet is just going to be ceaselessly moronic.
It's going to be like the way people complained about the Kendrick halftime show times a million.
Oh, my God. I can't even understand it. Just shut up and watch the show. Who cares? Just shut up and watch the show. It hasn't happened. It is definitively the dumbest thing in sports.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just a Bad Bunny fan. I do not care about any of the politics of it.
No.
I just really enjoy his music, and the NFL, who is expanding into how many international markets, is, yes, getting the most globally streamed artist on planet Earth to do the Super Bowl halftime show. So they're not going to regret it. And if you say you're going to boycott the NFL, no, you're not. You've said that about 4 times already.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the people who are pissed about the kneeling to take their time away to boycott the NFL. You morons.
Yeah, we'll see you in the second half.
My Aunt Donna has not watched the NFL.
Oh, actually.
Yep.
Impressive.
Anytime we have Thanksgiving over there, I'm like, where are they going?
We're not watching that in this house.
Oh, my God. You know what? Respect. If she said she was going to...
You know what?
If she actually did it...
Somebody who actually did it is insane. But I'm more talking about like the Kid Rocks of the world who did that whole performative thing where he set up a bunch of cases of Bud Light, shot him with an AK-47 after that trans influencer thing, and then immediately just... forgets all about it. Bud Light's back in the Kid Rock bar downtown. Just shut up.
Yeah, I hated that message, but damn, it's cool to shoot a bunch of beer with an AK-47. The message, awful, but the way in which he delivered the message,
I'm
pretty
like,
cool.
You are such a douche. Like, you are just such a tremendous D-bag.
If you ever want to impress me, explosions, guns. I'm in.
Yeah, but like Danny McBride, Tropic Thunder explosions, not Kid Rock on some, where he probably just shot up a bunch of trout behind his Bud Light display. Just idiot.
I know what's for dinner.
I'm looking forward to it. Bad Bunny. If you don't like Bad Bunny, watch Happy Gilmore too. How can you hate Bad Bunny after what he did in Happy Gilmore 2?
Don't even tell me. Just go watch this other thing that they've got streaming on YouTube, this alternative facts halftime show. Go watch that. Just don't tell me about it. I don't care what you think about it.
My dumbest thing in sports this week is Derek Dooley, who is running for, I want to say, a Senate seat in the state of Georgia. But I don't know who got a hold of this campaign ad from Dooley and immediately pounced on it with a bunch of clips from his time at Tennessee. But this is a highly edited version of Derek Dooley's campaign ad running for office in Georgia.
And let me tell you, in football, we have a saying, your film is your resume.
Dooley's career at Tennessee lasting just 36 games. His record, 15 wins, 21 losses.
The Vols have lost 3 straight games, and if you have Twitter, you know Derek Dooley's name has been trending.
I'm not in a position to defend what we're doing, make a case for what we're doing. We had a lot of opportunities to win the game, a lot, and on all phases. Didn't get it done.
There was complete chaos on the field.
Illegal participation on the defense.
Oh, my! 12 players on the field.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
I got 13 people on the field. And Tennessee heads to the locker room a moment ago, joyous and now heartbreaking.
What does Derek Dooley say to that team in that locker room?
Can't get upset at the fans because they're angry. What do you want them to be? Happy?
Why in the hell was Derek Dooley the hire?
Would he even be considered if his last name was not Dooley?
No.
Tonight, UT head football coach Derek Dooley is officially out.
Now these fans say they are looking forward to the game against Kentucky, hoping that now Dooley is out, they can end the season with a win.
I'd be a real dumbass to do something like that. All right. What else y'all got? With results like that, in the profession I came from, your ass goes to the bench.
So that is a highly edited Derek Dooley campaign ad. Dooley, awesome at a podium. I mean, some of the best, funniest moments.
It's very quotable.
SEC press conference history, but it was a bold strategy for him to open up his campaign ad with your film is your resume and make football reference after football reference with his resume being what it is as a head coach.
It's brilliant counter marketing.
Oh, man.
Robert?
With somber tone, I come to let you guys know that the Barrett Sports Media rankings for mid-market sports radio midday shows of 2025 are out.
You're kidding. You're not really going to do this,
Yes,
are you?
I am, because I am perturbed. I am perturbed. You can't tell me that Matt Jones and Kentucky Sports Radio have got our milk. No way, no how.
I mean, Barrett just...
No. Why
don't you explain to people, the rest of the world that does not care at all about this? You can't even get Lucas and I to care about this.
Well, I can't get you guys to care about much of anything, to be honest, outside of your own wants and needs and at any particular time, M&Ms or talking about Mike Vrabel, whatever. So this is what I want to talk about. You can't tell me that Three Guys Touching, the Really Big Show in Cleveland is a better show than us.
Three Guys Touching?
Well, shoving buddies here in Cleveland. We've got a lot of good stuff to talk about. No, you don't.
What is it? People don't know what you're talking about.
I just told you. It's the mid-market sports radio midday shows of 2025, and we were named the third. The third.
So we're mid. We're mid-market, mid-morning, third place mid.
No, third is good.
No, third is terrible.
I'll take third.
Third is garbage.
Yeah, third is good.
Well, we know you'll take third. It's just the world, content to let the world happen around him. All right, why are you pissed about this? Who even votes on this crap? Like, we don't vote on this, right?
No. It is the same people who voted the Hall of Fame vote have votes for this. So that Belichick doesn't get in, Kraft doesn't get in, we don't get in. I'm boycotting the Barrett Sports Media rankings. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
I'm upset about it.
It's fine.
It's not fine.
You can go yell at this guy, Barrett, at the Combine.
If that is his real name.
I don't know. I just know that there's a person that does this every year and that radio people will get excited about it, except who cares?
Except for all the other radio people. Except for you guys. If we would have been number one, you would have been excited.
Well, sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, then why weren't we number one? What did we not do good enough?
What's the biggest difference between this show this year and last year?
What's the biggest difference in this show?
I think we changed producers, did we not? Is there a common theme, perhaps?
That's okay. You know what? Let me go ahead. I'm gonna call Jackson. Let me bring I'll bring Jackson back. No.
You
it's
just
okay.
asked.
It's okay.
What's the difference?
You know that it.
I told you.
I guess you're right. I'm out of here, guys. Everybody appreciate it.
Now you don't care about these rankings anymore, do you? 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate. We will take your call. Oh, wait. We have to take calls for Dumbest Thing in Sports. We have a prize to give away, don't we? So we can do that. Let's go with Sterling and Gallatin.
How you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
My dumbest thing in sports is, I guess, whatever you called that last night, the backyard football game last night.
Oh, the Pro Bowl?
Yes. I remember when it used to be an actual game where, when Sean Taylor came across and nailed people. But now it's backyard football now. It's almost, touch football now. That's my dumbest thing in sports.
I appreciate the call. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity to win those tickets. You didn't watch the Pro Bowl, right?
I watched a piece of it and was kind of entertained by it.
Okay.
Yeah, like the flag football thing. I didn't like what they did previously with flag football, where it was like a bunch of mini games happening at the same time, but this was one big game. I don't know if it needs to be 4 15-minute quarters because it did drag on. I lost interest, but I kind of enjoyed. The little bit I did watch.
No, Robert, you said you enjoyed it, and then you showed me a highlight of a no-contact tush push, and I very quickly dismissed you.
Yes.
What are we doing? One-syllable answers now because I've hurt your feelings?
Yes.
Gator Mike is next.
Buck, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Hey, if it makes Bert feel any better, third place is only the second loser.
if that's a way to look.
Thank you for your submission, Gator Mike. Sterling, congratulations.
No, let Mike give his call, you jerk.
Before the Florida game, talking about Florida leading the country rebounding, and he makes the comment, Lucas will remember, well, when you're in the lane for 6, 7, 8 seconds, I can see why you do that. And then turns around to get blown out by Florida by 25. And then we love Petty on the show, don't we? Do we not love Petty?
Sure.
But for Todd Golden to then say in his press conference after the game, he asked about having 72 points from the front court, and he said, yeah, I think our guys were in there 1, 2, 3 seconds and they would score. So it's a beautiful thing. NATO's.
Thank you for the call.
Yeah, Todd Golden also promised they were going to beat Alabama either way, with or without Charles Bediako, and they did.
All right. I think I accidentally hung up on Mike.
You should just not touch anything.
You don't think...
Oh, I'm sorry. You're so adept over there. You have to there's literally 7,000 peanut M&Ms behind
you.
No, listen. You at some point, you remember about taking accountability? You always tell me I don't take accountability. Now it is time for you to live by your own lessons. Take accountability for the mess you made.
Still eat them.
I know. All right. Well done by Sterling. He gets the tickets. Always call in at 11 o'clock for the dumbest thing in sports this week. NFL headlines are next.
NFL stories spilling to the floor like a cascade of M&Ms. And for that, we go to one Lucas Panzica.
I mean, you really are
so
embarrassing.
Oh, my goodness. I worked so hard to pick up all these M&Ms, went outside, and almost, I don't even know why I was doing it. It's like I was making a statement, trying to spike them into the trash, and half of them spilled out and scattered across the hallway.
I mean, it speaks to what we know to be your general lack of athleticism. The idea that you could not even hit the broadside of a barn with your bucket of M&Ms.
Literally, point blank, was unable to dunk the bowls of M&Ms into the outside trash can.
It was funny because apparently we have not a single broom in this entire building, so Lucas is using 2 disposable bowls to scoop up this giant pile of M&Ms and then proceeds to dump half of them out again in the trashway in the hall. Trash in the hallway.
I'm being accused that I ate them off the floor. I did not.
Something.
We saw you, dude.
I ate like the 2 that were left still in the container that didn't spill.
No.
Because at that point, I might as well.
No, dude, I saw it where you bent over, had a bunch of them, and were like, this is too many to
Speaking
wait.
of bent over, you know what else the audience saw? Because Bert decided we were going to have our own halftime show on the show.
I did not consent. Did not consent to being videotaped.
If you missed it, during the break, I put Lucas's cam on, and you could see him shoveling a mountain of peanut M&Ms into a pile. When I tell you there were hundreds. There were hundreds of M&Ms on the ground. There's no way you got them all.
I did. I don't think I missed a single one.
I don't believe.
I don't think I didn't.
Okay, what do you want to bet? If I can come in there and find one peanut and M&M on the ground, then what is the trade-off?
I eat it.
Okay, bet.
Oh, you want to do that while he's reading headlines? All right. Wait. Before you come in here, expand his camera shot. In fact, make it only... Oh, no, he's picking one up. No, put it back.
No.
Okay, now...
No, I picked this one up.
Now...
Putting it in my pocket.
If I find another one, I get to play Stinky Finger with you.
Take me off camera and then just have the one shot of Lucas reading the headlines and you behind him foraging for M&Ms during this segment.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right. So as we point and laugh at me, do we point and laugh at the Jets here?
Yes.
They have hired Frank Reich to be the offensive coordinator, replacing the fired Tanner Engstrand. Aaron Glenn, year one as the head coach of the Jets, has fired both of his coordinators. Frank Reich is the replacement on the offensive side of the ball. For those who forgot, he was the interim coach of the Stanford Cardinal. Last year was just doing his guy, Andrew Luck, a solid. And he is back in the NFL, former head coach of the Colts and the Panthers, has known Aaron Glenn for a very long time. They are former teammates. Aaron Glenn said, quote, Frank has a rare combination of experience. What? Where? Where did you find it? Where was it?
You lose. All right. No. He gets to put the M&M in your mouth. No, don't.
That's so gross.
I'm not done looking.
No, I'm done.
If I find another one, you have to eat it.
No, for every one you left, you have to eat it. That's the bet. Oh. Go ahead. I dare you to pull that mini fridge away from the wall. See how disgusting that is.
Oh my god.
Robert is foraging for all. There are.
No, I'm not eating those. I'm not eating those. I'm not eating those.
That's a health risk.
I'm not. We did it. I ate one off the ground.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were very happy to see me eat the hot chip.
You did that for clout.
Look how many.
No, that's disgusting. I can't. They're under that crusty fridge.
All right, I'll make you a deal. Go wash them off in the sink, then bring them back.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do that. That actually sounds nice. Could use a snack.
This isn't all of them. There are more.
No. Yeah, I didn't think to move the fridge. I should have thought they would.
Look at it. Also, what is Stinky Finger is the game that he was threatening to play.
I don't know.
Because I'm now concerned. We, by the way, are rudderless. He is in the break room. We have no production staff whatsoever unless Ross is back there vaping himself to death. So I guess in the meantime, proceed with your headlines.
So Frank Reich taking over as the Jets play caller. No clue who the Jets quarterback is going to be. Justin Fields is under contract for another year, but I don't think Aaron Glenn is going to stake his job with Justin Fields.
Oh, look at that. Carrot Top figured out how to put me back on camera. Well done.
some competence around here.
Yeah.
Very nice.
How about that?
Did you rinse them?
This is disgusting.
No, dude. I don't No. I can't do that. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I had to
show the audience. Show them on camera.
They're so gross. I can't do this. This is this is an HR thing. Like this is like
and the hot chip wasn't?
Yeah, we got in trouble for the hot chip.
We didn't get in trouble. We just said don't do that again.
Don't do it again.
There were many lawyers that emailed me after that.
It's like 17.
There's so many more.
I should have moved the fridge. I'll clean them, Robert. It's okay.
Oh, it's beautiful. How the hell? You know what, Robert? I am now offended about the Barrett Sports Media rankings. We should have finished in first with a product
because
like
of this.
Who else has this level of production? 5 more.
Oh, God.
You get hungry.
Don't leave them in here. He'll spill them again.
I'll just go everywhere.
Oh, well, you know what you can do? You can give Carrot Top back there a treat because he figured out how to put us on camera while you were washing
Good
these.
Lord. So Frank Reich is the offensive coordinator of the Jets.
Oh, God. All right, very good. I have no thoughts other than the Jets suck and nobody
What are
wants
they going to
work
do?
it.
They're going to go get Kirk Cousins when the Falcons release him?
If you had to pick one person in the NFL to Barry Trotz his way through next season, start a thing and then be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm good. I retire. Frank Reich.
We were having a discussion who's the most pre-fired coach of this coaching carousel. The most pre-fired coach of the NFL is Aaron Glenn, right?
Joe.
Like, I don't even know what the closest second is.
Well, what's Zach Taylor's contract situation? Because they won't fire him. They'll just let his contract expire so they have to pay him to go away.
There is a real scenario where Joe Burrow leads the Bengals to the playoffs next year. So I have a hard time sitting here and saying, yeah, guaranteed. Yes, if it's a repeat of the last 2 years, he's probably out this time. But there's a very real scenario where the Bengals compete for the division because Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. I have a hard time seeing the Jets competing for anything this year.
No.
Robert, is there a more pre-fired coach than Aaron Glenn?
Who is the floor M&M's coaching hire of this cycle?
I mean, Steelers fans will say it's Mike McCarthy. We just picked Mike McCarthy up off the floor. Just more of Mike Tomlin.
Washed it off a little bit.
He's their fourth head coach in the entire history of the Steelers organization. I don't think they fire him after 1 year.
No, the Steelers won't do that.
I'd say Mike LaFleur. That's where I would go with it.
Oh, I just think that he's fine out there. Like, I just think he's in a place where nobody's going to care about him ever.
It was just like
his fan base doesn't even care about him. I mean, thank God his brother showed up to support him yesterday. Well, did you see he took a shot at Saleh?
No. No, he didn't take a shot. He thanked him for taking the Titans job.
Yeah, so he could take the Cardinals job.
Right.
Because he wasn't getting the job here. He wasn't getting the head coaching job anywhere else.
His whole logic there is...
I read it as a shot. I didn't hear the actual quote. I just read it. It looked more like a veiled shot at Saleh.
He thanked Saleh for taking the Titans job because what was Saleh's next interview?
Cardinals.
If the Titans didn't keep him, would have been in Arizona. So
he's just being like, that Saleh guy. He would have gotten the job over me.
He definitely would have gotten the job over Mike LaFleur.
Thanks,
no doubt.
Bobby.
But Aaron Glenn, most pre-fired coach in the National Football League 2026, brings in Frank Reich, and I guess they'll go get... I don't know who's going to play quarterback for the Jets. Jacoby Brissett, former Frank Reich
quarterback. Do they even care? Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
Zach Wilson,
they got
bring
a
him
bunch
back.
of...
Yeah,
Zach Wilson rehabilitation tour. No, he'd probably be like that PTSD meme that you see all over the place. It'd be Zach Wilson's face with the helmet cockeyed and just being like bombs going off all around him. Except it's Fireman Ed throwing things at him from the stands.
Speaking of, we mentioned Kirk Cousins in that. Matt Ryan has spoken as the Falcons president of football, a newly created role for the Falcons legend, who now steps into this front office role.
It's not a new role.
Didn't they create this role for him?
No, Rich McKay was their president of football operations.
They changed order of operations.
You know what? No, I think he was the president. He was the Burke Nihill. I mean, he president and CEO of the team.
I think they created president of football for Matt Ryan.
Okay.
But he is over the general manager. I can't remember if you were gone on Friday or not when we talked about this, but they're not receiving, the Bears will not receive compensatory picks for Ian Cunningham because Matt Ryan is at the top and Ian Cunningham is not.
Interesting.
Bears fans pissed. Somebody also asked, why wouldn't Zach Taylor be the most pre-fired coach? Because the Bengals would have to pay him to go away. They don't do that.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow exists. Joe Burrow... like he said, the window is his career. Matt Ryan will not commit to Michael Penix Jr. as the Falcons' starting quarterback. He said, quote, quarterback is obviously very important, and we are excited about Mike and what he's doing with his rehab. I've been up at the facility the last 3 weeks. He has been in there attacking that. He's in a good space right now. We are excited about where he is, but certainly a lot of discussions for us about the entire roster. Kirk Cousins is still an Atlanta Falcon. He obviously worked with Kevin Stefanski in Minnesota for a few seasons, but there was reporting last week that he is likely to be released because of his salary cap implications to the team. So this, I guess, is just Matt Ryan doing executive speak.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been doing it for years. It's just it's gone from coach speak to executive speak. The options, though, for Atlanta without a first-round pick, if they were going to address the quarterback situation, if they were going to, like, I don't know, throw a flyer on Ty Simpson is not going to be a first-round draft pick, right?
I don't know. I wouldn't have said Jackson Dart was going to be a first-round pick this time last year.
I think he's closer to that than Ty Simpson is, though. I mean, again, things could change by the time we all get to the Combine. By the way, how excited are you to go to the Combine? That's as happy as I've seen you look, I think, ever.
Have we announced that?
I mean, didn't they send us an email about going to the Combine?
I didn't know if we formally announced that.
We're going to the Combine. Who cares?
Yes, I'm very excited.
So what, are you scared if you say it into a microphone, they'll take it away from you?
Maybe they wanted to do a proper announcement.
I just can't believe I'm going to have to watch you drunkenly stumble around downtown Indianapolis with nobody but Kirby to corral you.
Hey, John, good to see you, man. Hey, look at me. Look at me, John.
Which eye?
You're a great coach, man. You did a great... Look at me. Look at me, John.
Who are we most concerned about you accosting?
No, let's get him in a room with Josina Anderson.
No.
Hey, listen
that's
here.
easy.
Listen here. Why use many words when few words do the trick? Get to the point.
You develop a speech impediment when you drink?
That, my eyeballs, my general
the fish eye
posture.
thing is deeply concerning.
The NFLPA, despite a renewed push from NFL ownership to move toward 18 regular season games, something that I think we all consider an inevitability in the NFL, the NFLPA leadership made it clear on Tuesday that players are not in support of an expanded regular season schedule. NFLPA interim executive director David White said at their annual Super Bowl week news conference, quote, our members have no appetite for a regular season 18th game, citing player health and safety concerns that come with the longer season. He says the 18th game is not casual for us. It's a very serious issue. It's something that comes out of negotiations, and nothing will move forward until players have the opportunity to account for all of these factors, take that into consideration, and then through negotiations, agree or not to the 18th game. But as it stands right now, players have been very clear that they do not have an appetite for it.
Yeah, okay. And then they see the money and the appetite changes. It's just Thursday Night Football all over again, right? Because didn't he have also a position about players don't want to play Thursday night until they see the check, until they realize that Amazon is paying the NFL $80 million a game and they get a percentage of that. And I'm not down on that. I'm not accosting the players for that. But this is a thing that we see every year. Because it's not just about the people who are making all the money in the NFL. It's about the rest of the NFL populace whose average career is, I think, after COVID, less than 3 years. So people are just trying to cash in. I think it's posturing by the NFLPA because at the end of the day, the voting base is going to say, okay, how much more money can we make if we do this? All right, let's do it.
But how close are we really?
I don't think we're very far off at all.
Roger Goodell has said it's not a given, which you expect him to say. Bob Kraft, on an appearance on 98.5, a station in New England, or in Boston, I should say, said, Sports Hub, back in January, basically said, every team's going to go to 18 regular season games and 2 preseason games. He said every team every year will play 1 game overseas, so he has indicated that it is an inevitability. Jalen Reeves-Maben, the NFLPA president, Clarksville, Tennessee native and VFL, says there has not been any discussion about it so far.
Yeah, so there's too many things that it allows the NFL to do that it's already on track to do. Think about the international schedule. Like they are going to do this. How many different international cities are we playing games in next year? And I don't even think they've said anything about going back to Ireland at this point in time. But we're talking about Mexico City, Madrid, Australia, Paris is a new one.
Rio.
Munich, London. Rio, they are going to put it, they're going to add additional games inventories. They're going to eventually put in a second bye week to give the players, that's going to be the players, out is, all right, you get a second bye on top of the way that we schedule to where you get a mini bye week when you play Thursday night football or Monday night football or all these different things. I just think there is no way, the players turn over far more than the executive leadership of the NFL does. So by the time we actually get around to voting on this thing, the people that are obstinate about it are probably not even going to be running the show anymore on the side of the PA.
That's it.
All right, very good. 615-737-1045. That's the number if you want to participate. We mentioned we mentioned his son. We mentioned Bruce Pearl earlier in the show. And Charles Bediako. Bruce Pearl had some thoughts on the Alabama situation that are worth mentioning coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. Have you seen the Bruce Pearl story, who, of course, is the former Auburn coach, his son Steven, now on the bench for Auburn? Did you see what he got out there and started saying on Outkick, where I guess he makes a somewhat frequent appearance? He's now calling for the NCAA to suspend Alabama from postseason play because of the Charles Bediako situation, where, of course, we've talked about this many times, but Bediako, who's the G League player who declared for the draft in the NBA in 2023, got eligibility through a lawsuit in the NCAA, through the Tuscaloosa Circuit Court. We've talked about the problematic portions of this, but this is the quote from Bruce Pearl. I think they should consider, he goes on to parenthetically or paraphrase and say, the NCAA's decision to ban Alabama from the postseason. I think it's something that should be talked about. When we don't like the ruling, what do? We go to court and we get an injunction. So I don't think that the player should be punished in this situation, nor do I think Nate Oates and the Alabama basketball program should be punished for exploiting a loophole that every other coach. If Bruce Pearl was still actively coaching, you mean to tell me that Bruce Pearl is not going to use every tool at his disposal to put together the best basketball team? I just think this is a tough thing from somebody who doesn't have to deal with this anymore, looking around and being like, this was ridiculous. I got suspended for so much less. I got fired for so much less. With the whole recruiting violation situation that Bruce Pearl dealt with when he was at Tennessee.
Yeah, which is why I kind of get why he feels this way, because he was basically banned from the sport for multiple years for having a guy at a barbecue. But times have changed. Things are very, very different now. But it seems like there's going to be a decision around Bediako at some point soon. I saw news today that they are pushing for an extension on that hearing to determine his eligibility moving forward. We mentioned already that the NCAA basically had the judge recuse himself for the obvious conflict of interest. But with that said, does the judge in Knox County have a conflict of interest in regards to Joey Agalar? He's a Tennessee grad. There's been nothing to say he's a Tennessee donor specifically.
Yeah,
I guess,
that's where the line gets crossed.
Yeah, when you're sending boatloads of money to the athletic department that is directly involved in a case that you are overseeing, it definitely feels a little bit different. But Bama plays Auburn in 3 days. So that will be interesting. I think Bediako is going to play in that game. I don't think anything is going to come down over the next 3 days that will prevent him from being eligible to play against Auburn for the first time this year in a game that's happening in Tuscaloosa. Or no, that's happening at Auburn this Saturday.
Am I allowed, I'll ask the resident, what have we dubbed Lucas SEC apologist these last few months, where his conference is no longer the conference of champions, where the Big Ten continues to win all of the championships, where the ACC is a better basketball conference at this point in time. It's a tough life, it seems, at this point, to be a fan of an SEC program. I just think it's funny that anybody who's been involved with the SEC at any point in their career ever talking about recruiting violations. Like, because there's frustration growing about this. Danny White, right? And I'm not accusing Danny White or Bruce Pearl of doing anything that we don't know definitively that they've done or have not done. But I just think in that conference, where it has been historically the place where you get the most rampant rule exploitation or circumventing situation, that now everybody has a problem with Nate Oates doing this in a public legal way. It's lame as hell.
Also, we have to remember the sphere that Bruce Pearl seems to kind of be operating in now, right? I don't believe he's announced any sort of run for office. In fact, I think he's denied it.
No, he just he keeps tweeting things that would be considered politically polarizing.
Yeah, like he is talking more about politics than he is about basketball at this point. So how much of this is also political posturing from Bruce Pearl? I believe that he believes this stuff.
What's the political bent on this? That you're going to be the guy that holds truth to power in the NCAA that's going to get you elected?
Sure.
Ugh. God, if that's
like
the
that's
thing
the most ridiculous platform anybody's ever run on.
I'm just saying if that is the level of voting issue that people are now deciding who their elected officials are, I say that like that's it's not completely banana republic.
Think about where he is.
Politics.
He's in Alabama. If Bruce Pearl wants to be a senator out of the state of Alabama,
I know. I'm still. I shouldn't be stunned, but I'm still stunned at the idea of like people like Derek Dooley and I'm blanking on the running back in Georgia.
Herschel Walker, Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah,
is in Washington.
Get out of here.
Bruce Pearl, I guess there's a pipeline at this point of former Auburn coaches.
Well, if that's who people want to represent them, okay. Very good. So, beyond that, I will be curious to see. So, we will not have a resolution this Friday, but next Friday on Joey Aguilar's situation.
Seems that way.
As Adam Sparks joined us in the first hour to expand upon that for those of you who missed it. Joey Aguilar has since been granted a temporary restraining order, which allows him to participate in the Vols off-season program. Right now, he is not yet eligible. A determination on his remaining eligibility, if they do indeed grant him some, for his situation from JUCO to when he made it to the NCAA level, is still being litigated. But he did get an important first step in that win, getting the TRO. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to participate. There's another story that is Titans adjacent because of what's happening with the New York Giants. And I saw a couple of different Titans fans on social media going back and forth with Giants fans about something that could have been the Titans' fate, quote unquote, that has now landed in New York. We'll talk about that coming up next.
2 minutes from 12 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Tennessee quarterback Joey Agalar has been granted a temporary restraining order against NCAA and eligibility rules as a Knoxville judge, according to Adam Sparks, granted the TRO, which is a temporary measure. Agalar will have an injunction hearing for next Friday. On the hardwood last night, Nate Ament scored 28 with 6 boards and 4 helpers as number 25 Tennessee rolled by Ole Miss 84-66. They move on to 6-3 in SEC play. In NFL news, the Jets are hiring former Colts and Panthers head coach Frank Reich to be the offensive coordinator under Aaron Glenn, replacing the fired Tanner Engstrand. And the Nashville Predators will continue their homestand tonight, taking on the Minnesota Wild, 7 p.m., the puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
So when John Harbaugh was the first coach hired by the New York Giants after he was fired by the Baltimore Ravens, I'm sure Giants fans felt that it was as big a win as any team could have in the offseason. Then you saw some of how the other hirings played out. You had a lot of Giants fans being chesty with the idea that, Titans fans, you couldn't even get in the room with John Harbaugh. It was going to be us the whole way through. And then some of the news has started to develop through one of the weirdest coaching cycles and hiring cycles, firing cycles that I can remember in 10 years of covering the NFL at this point in time, to where Todd Monken is going to be the offensive coordinator of the Giants. Until he's very much not. And then Todd Monken becomes the head coach of the Browns, and he's taking other people who were expected to join John Harbaugh in New York from that Baltimore Ravens staff. And then you say, well, okay, who's going to be the offensive coordinator for the CEO-type coach? And you see reports of Cliff Kingsbury and former Titans head coach Brian Callahan interviewing for the for the offensive coordinator position. And all of a sudden yesterday, the news comes out that Matt Nagy is going to be the offensive coordinator for Jackson Dart in his second year as a pro. And all of the conversation about where the Giants are heading versus what the Titans ended up landing in Saleh, Dable, Gus Bradley, who they just announced, about 20 minutes ago, officially as the team's defensive coordinator, some of the things that they're bringing with them. What? You surprised by that? Oh, okay. Just looking up. Also, your microphone's off. We were talking a lot about how big a win that was. And sure, it's not Mike McDaniel coming in here to help Cam Ward. That would have been the best case scenario, but Brian Dable's a pretty damn good option that makes you feel infinitely better about the idea of hiring Robert Saleh, who did not succeed in his last opportunity to be a head coach. Are the vibes different in New York today than they were a month ago, given what they expected to happen when they hired John Harbaugh versus what they're actually getting, which is the former Titans defensive coordinator, where their defenses were not statistically good, but we understand here in Tennessee why they were not statistically good, and the guy who many people thought was going to be the head coach of the Titans, the guy who a lot of people are pinning a good portion of the blame on for Kansas City's offensive failures, to come in and help develop your second-year first-round pick at quarterback. It feels like New York fans are probably not thrilled with the idea of Matt Nagy running that side of the ball.
I think Denard Wilson is a solid hire.
I 100% agree. I don't think Giants fans are taking it that way.
Sure. I mean, Harbaugh obviously is very familiar, having employed him in Baltimore. And how many former Ravens defensive coordinators are head coaches at this point?
McDonald, defensive coordinators?
Yeah.
Minter?
Yeah.
Well, no, Minter wasn't a coordinator.
I guess
he was a staffer.
Former Ravens defensive staffers. Yeah. Robert, are there any others outside of it's just those two? Still, 2 of them right now.
Well, Weaver's back in Baltimore after being in Miami.
Yeah, and he was in discussions for a lot of head coaching jobs. He was interviewing for multiple head coaching jobs. So I like the Denard Wilson hire, but are they not responding well to Matt Nagy?
Does not seem well. It seems that there's a lot of Titans fans who are digging up old tweets about you'll get Matt Nagy and you'll like him.
Yeah, it is pretty funny how that all
Tennessee
came back around
and how that seems to be. So I'm sure it hurts a little worse when you're having your nose rubbed in it. And now I'm sure there's some level of coping about the idea of Matt Nagy hiring, because I saw people like Connor Hughes, who's that SNY reporter in New York, being like, all right, Giants fans, I know you're pissed, but this, that, and the other, like providing, like basically making a case for Nagy as the head coach.
So I'd like to hear from Robert on this. Let's say there's an alternate universe where Tyler Loop makes that field goal. Let's say the Ravens win a playoff game. John Harbaugh is still the head coach.
For a week.
For a week.
Yeah, that's what Steve Bisciotti said.
For a week.
Let's just say John Harbaugh doesn't get fired in Baltimore. Like they make a run to the divisional round AFC Championship or something. But Todd Monken still gets scooped up as the head coach of the Browns. Robert, how would you feel if Matt Nagy came to Baltimore to work for John Harbaugh as the offensive coordinator?
I would trust them. I would trust that whatever they saw from Matt Nagy would be enough, that they wanted someone who had experience, someone like my vision is skewed for what happens to them or what happens around them because I trust the front office.
God, it must be so nice.
I trust the general manager to get things right. I trust the owner to not push for something that his ego has driven him into. They just don't do things like that, which is why I think any New York Giants fan that is perturbed about, the hiring, John, why they're not getting someone I thought they were going to get. Okay, well, the moment John was hired, 50% of the people were like, okay, it was time. The other 50, you're not going to find another guy like that. That's John Harbaugh. They don't make guys like that grow on trees. Okay, so what's the difference? What's the difference in now? Because he didn't get someone to run the newsflash, he's never had a good offense outside of the last 6 years when Lamar has been there. It just hasn't been the case. Flacco struggled for years, did not have a 4,000-yard passing season for years after the Super Bowl until Gary Kubiak got there. You got Harbaugh because he's a CEO-type coach. He's a guy that comes in and sets precedents and how practices should be run, how teams should be evaluated, how bringing analytics to New York. That's what you should be excited about, not the fact that,
I didn't want Matt Nagy. I wanted somebody good like Todd Monken.
Well, the other thing is, there's no guarantee that New York's offense would be as good as it was in Baltimore with Monken because they don't have Lamar.
Or Derek.
They don't have
Zay
Derek.
Flower. I mean, they've got Neighbors, but he's coming off a knee injury.
So this, to me, if New York fans, this would be the most fair weather prisoner of the moment of the offseason so far. And get ready and buckle up, because if this is already pissing you guys off, you get ready for more of it, because he's going to invest in players that you're like, that guy does it. Why would we take that guy? It happens all the time, happens every year. And as a Ravens fan, you're just better suited to go, I trust them. They're going to figure it out. They have the track record. Giants don't have that luxury. But if you hired a guy because he was the best coach of the cycle, the coordinators attached to him should not make that much of an inkling to you as they are. Sure, it might be a question mark, but it shouldn't be enough to go, oh, my God, what are we going to do?
Whereas here, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
Agree with that.
I was completely unmoved by the hiring of Robert Saleh until they made the Dable hire official. Because I think, and listen, I'm not speaking, I obviously wouldn't speak for Titans fans, but I feel exactly the opposite way about the way that Robert feels about the Ravens as an organization. I am just assuming that something is going to go wrong, and I'm trying to get myself out of that headspace. But at every turn these last 4 seasons, they have done something that I think is going to work, and I'm sure they think it. I know they think it's going to work, and then it goes catastrophically wrong in some way, shape, or form. Now, obviously, that's not a way to. Nobody should predetermine the results on any of this, which is why I'm not down on the staffing hires that they've made. I'm not super fired up about it. I understand completely why Titans fans would be, because in theory, this makes all the sense in the world. But it's a two Americas type of situation to ask a fan who just implicitly trusts his organization to do everything, and it doesn't matter. It sounds like it almost doesn't matter what they do, that you would defer to. Yeah, they're stable. They're stable. They don't make emotional decisions. They don't let their ego get caught up in these things where, as it's going to be a learning process for Titan. I would think, again, I'm not speaking for them, but I would think that there's a significant portion of the Titans fan base that has to have that trust earned back from the organization, despite how good the recent decisions have felt.
Sure, but I'm not sure what more could have been done in regards to Saleh's coaching staff.
Oh, I mean, McDaniel, that's really the only thing, right?
And even then, you know, Brian Daboll has had more experience calling plays. He's worked with more quarterbacks than Mike McDaniel. So
he's got a longer track record as a play caller.
Yeah. So I don't know what more. You're right. Of course, there's an element of trust that has to be earned there. Cam Ward has to earn a level of trust. Robert Saleh in his second go round as a head coach. But I don't know what. There's not much more that they could have done in putting their staff together to get fans excited. Like they kind of checked every box in that regard.
I also don't think it takes that much to get people excited around here because it's been so awful. Like I don't think I think the bar is outrageously low, and even then we felt like we had to lower the bar again last year. And I at a certain point I refused to do it.
But that is just a small portion of it, right?
Yeah.
Like now there's an entire roster to fill out. I mean, I don't know who the foundational pieces of this defense are going to be outside of Jeffrey Simmons and Cedric Gray. I have no clue.
And I really don't even know about Cedric Gray, right? Drafted by a different administration in the front office under a different coaching staff who, to Cedric Gray's credit, he was really good last year.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that you cast him aside if he's just not a schematic fit or not the perfect prototypical off-ball linebacker to play in a solid defense. But I think the coaching staff change and a GM that didn't draft him and a new linebackers coach that's not Frank Bush, I'm not. Jeff Simmons is the only thing that I'm considering foundational piece. Amani Hooker. I'll give you Amani Hooker, too. And I think Amani gets better if they get some actual players in the secondary.
It's a fair point about Gray, but the Titans also are not in a position personnel-wise to, punt on guys like that. Now, maybe somebody like...
so, but if Cody Barton ends up cutting,
that's what I'm saying.
Scheme fit.
Maybe Cody Barton is who we're talking about in that regard.
But that's...
Cedric Gray is a guy in the third year of his rookie contract that's a young, emerging linebacker that almost set a franchise record last year.
Oh, sure.
I don't think that's the type of player that the Titans can afford to just cut ties with at this point.
What if they Ernest Jones him? Ernest Jones is excellent. Now, he's in a different contractual situation, but I think... And listen, that fourth-round pick ended up being Gunnar Helm. Like, you're not... I don't think it's revisionist history to say, no, the Ernest Jones flip from L.A. to here and then here to Seattle, where he's now competing for a Super Bowl, I think that was the correct thing to do at the time, especially given the results that we have in hand of Gunnar Helm and offensive skill power or skill players that they need to have. But if all of a sudden Cedric Gray ends up in a trade situation or something like that, I don't think I would be shocked. Because it's a totally different situation than the one he was drafted in.
The only tough part about that, and people in the know would know more than this, but because it is a really good inside linebacker draft, like if you need a guy, there's a number of dudes in the draft you could snag. I think that would almost hurt his value.
Yeah.
Because why would I not just draft one of these guys rather than trading you a pick? But to Lucas's point about Barton, $8.2 million as a cap hit for a starting average linebacker is not bad. Like, if they wanted to flip him for a 6 or a 7, I think they would be able to do that. Now, the cap relief wouldn't be tremendous. It's not like they're hurting for money anyway. You'd make about $3.2 million by shipping him off.
Yeah, I don't think that's... I don't know. Given the amount of cap space that they have, they may feel differently, of course. And we'll have more conversations about that. We'll have Mike Borgonzi on at the Combine, I'm sure. We'll have Saleh on at the Combine, I'm sure. What we typically do, the coach and GM interviews. Up there in Indianapolis, in 3 weeks from now?
There are important questions to be asked of Robert Saleh that were not addressed in his opening press conference.
Like?
How? How so shiny?
Oh, wax.
Is it that simple?
Yeah, look at Tehran.
There's got to be more to it.
What I want to know is how you keep it from, do bald people get dandruff?
A lot of questions. How often do you have to shave it, if ever? Like, do you have to go back and raise it just to make sure that there's not a single follicle?
What if it just doesn't grow?
Again, all very important questions.
What are you going to do? Take a towel, rub, or breathe on it, and then look for your reflection in Robert Saleh's. Thank you for giving me some sound effects.
You just have questions, that's all.
Thank you for helping me.
Yeah, no problem. They added another dude that was bald, didn't they? Isn't Gus Bradley bald?
Bald as hell.
Dude,
bald as hell. I think the count is 7.
We need 5 more. to be a carton of eggs, dude. If they could be the Tennessee egg cartons, that would be so sick. I think every player should be. Jeff would look good bald.
Titans fans will have
They should give out bald caps.
Yeah.
They should give out bald caps.
That would be
Also,
awesome.
do you know how many people asked me, where did he get those bald caps the day after? Your praises are being sung by people all over the place where I'm asked about the bald cap segment that we did and why the hell did Robert have bald caps at his disposal that quickly?
Amazon overnighted it. When I get a plan, it comes together pretty quickly. Also, if the Titans don't have a first 500 fans get a bald cap that come into the stadium, at one point, they can put Tennessee logos. If they're going to have a new logo, slap that on the front of it or the side of it, just NASCAR the bald cap. But if they don't do that, it would be a miss. And also, if they do that, I want one for free.
You already have one.
I want one that they're giving away with a little indention that says, "Thank you for the idea, - Tennessee Titans." I'm already using the Amy quote about Robert Saleh in interview processes. Got a number of jobs, people reaching out to me, So I always just submit that from Amy Adams Strunk. Robert is a great example of, you know what the Titans had to say about me? Here's what Amy Adams Strunk said. Gives a great foot rub.
God, if she ever bothers to attempt to have another conversation with me ever in her career, I can't imagine what that would look like. Because it's unfortunate how much of the stuff that we say into microphones that gets back to I mean, it's not because I mean all of it, but like your stuff.
I do too. You don't think I wouldn't quit this job to be her personal foot rubber? In a heartbeat, dude. In a heartbeat. They ain't even got to match what that would be a labor of love.
So, right. I have this thing in here about the 5 most interesting quarterbacks of the 2026 offseason, but that feels a bit evergreen. You want to get into some of this Saleh defensive play calling thing with an interesting nugget about defensive play calling head coaches in the Super Bowl, and also some guidance from a former Titans head coach, Mike Vrabel, on what it is to develop a quarterback as he has done with Drake May. We'll get to all of that coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. So the Titans will have a head coach that will call defensive plays, and Robert Saleh. They just made the hiring of Gus Bradley official via the team. Jimmy just put that out there, so you have that in print. Still waiting for a few more ancillary positions on the coaching staff before they roll out the full thing. But somebody sent me an interesting tweet from Brady Henderson, who covers the Seahawks for ESPN. And this is an interesting note. Well, Brady Henderson is citing Mike Sando's nugget here, essentially. Because Mike Macdonald is also a play-calling defensive head coach. 36 head coaches have combined to win the first 59 Super Bowls. It's pretty interesting. How many coaches have more than one? Well, that'd be an exercise that may take us too long. We have to do that on air. But be curious to know who the coaches are who have multiple Super Bowls beyond Belichick or Andy Reid to kind of revisit that. Anyway, 36 head coaches have combined to win the first 59 Super Bowls. None of them did so as their team's defensive play caller. Mike Macdonald would be the first defensive play-calling head coach to win the Super Bowl if he does, in fact, win the Super Bowl, because Bill Belichick was not calling defensive plays in the traditional sense. I'm sure he had a great amount of input, but not the defensive play caller.
Yeah, Pete Carroll, too. Gus Bradley was his defensive play caller when they won the Super Bowl.
Tony Dungy, he also went to a defensive coordinator.
So this is a nugget that Brady Henderson asked Leslie Frazier about. He's the Seahawks assistant head coach right now, about the challenges of a dual role. Because did Leslie Frazier, was that with Minnesota that he was calling defensive plays as the head coach?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So this is the quote. The only way that was possible was the staff has to be so strong around you because there are just some innate things as a head coach that you have to be a part of. And sometimes on defense, you can't be. Because in between series, a lot of times you're looking at the iPad and trying to figure out, what am I going to call the next series? Well, there's a challenge situation, like, let's say, Alec Iamaner, a missed opportunity to challenge a catch that should have been a catch that Brian Callahan didn't think was a catch, right? There's a challenge situation, and you're the guy that has to throw the challenge flag, or we need a timeout. But if you're not in the game and understanding why we need a timeout, then everybody is searching for you. So I just thought it would be very difficult. I've seen offensive coaches do it because, obviously, 2-minute situations, the red flag, penalties, a lot of that happens on the offensive side of the ball. But to his credit, talking about Mike Macdonald, I think we've put together a strong staff and we've been able to help him with some of those chores and take things off his plate in between series. And here we are in the Super Bowl. Does that make you feel better or worse about the idea of Robert Saleh being a defensive play calling head coach, where Leslie Frazier is articulating, yeah, it's harder to do it on the defensive side than as an offensive-minded play-calling head coach?
Which is interesting because we've had these discussions, and Blaine and I talked about it when I hosted with him. We talked to Coach Mack about it, in that you would think that it would be the other way around because defensive play calling is a lot more reactionary, right, than offensive play calling. A lot of times you're in the same base defense for a huge portion of the game. So you would think it would be less involved and allow you to dedicate more time to the in-game management, something that Brian Callahan obviously struggled with as an offensive play caller. I would say it doesn't concern me because my concern right now is not, can the Titans win a Super Bowl under Robert Saleh?
No, I'm talking about avoiding in-game gaffes. If you're worried about, if you're sitting there on the bench with the iPad going through, all right, this is what they got us on this defensive series, this is we're going to hit them with there, and the offense is going on while you're sitting there diagnosing the defense, you've got to have a really, really strong, you essentially have to have an assistant head coach to be able to pull you off the bench and be like, hey, throw the flag. But at that point, you're talking about a level of blind trust where all that stuff's happening so fast.
Sure. No, it'll be a question that will have to be answered with Saleh because we don't have a proof of concept of him doing it in New York when Jeff Ulbrich was calling the plays. He obviously had, an obvious impact and input on that defense and its game planning, but he was not doing the day-to-day of calling plays on game day. So it is something that has to be proven by Robert Saleh that he'll be able to do that without it impeding what he's able to do to manage the Titans on game day.
And I would argue that was the worst part of his introductory press conference, Saleh's answer on why he's calling the defensive plays, because he was almost dismissive of being the timeout red flag guy, but wasn't very good in New York at being the timeout red flag guy when that was his primary obligation as an in-game coach. Like, I'm sure there are other things that you're managing on that, but, like, I came away from that being like, one, it is within your power to change those roles if you felt that that was not good enough. It's not like you were there for a year. You were there for 4, into 4, the start of 4. You could have done something about that if you felt like you weren't being as big an asset as you need to be.
But what would have been a bigger criticism of Saleh? That what you're saying, or taking play calling duties away from Jeff Ulbrich, who had the Jets defense in top 3, top 5 of most major categories because he wasn't feeling as engaged and he wasn't having as much fun? Like, I feel like the latter would have been a lot more of a criticism against Robert Saleh.
Sure. And in this situation, I think that those things, it is a different situation than what he will be up against with the Jets. And he has a wealth of experience, as we've noted. Gus Bradley has been both a head coach and a defensive coordinator in a variety of different places. Dable has been a head coach and an offensive coordinator in a couple of different spots. Like Bones Fossil is there to assist him in these situations. You could very much see him helping Mike McCoy and Brian Callahan in a lot of situations. In fact, I think Fossil had a little more awareness in those situations than Callahan did at times because he was caught up in the process of calling plays. It's one of those things that I'm probably going to have, I think that we will have collectively, Titans media will have a microscope on when it starts. Like, can you actually do this? Because you're already saying that you didn't feel like you were an impact guy as far as challenges and timeouts go, which is not a great thing to say at the podium. But now, if this doesn't go exactly to plan, or if you start to lose some of these supporting people around you, will you then be willing to give up defensive play calling? Will somebody have to take it from you the way that they took it from Brian Callahan? And then you'll be obstinate at the podium with us afterwards, being like, no, I think I'm a good play caller. Then why are you giving up play calling? Yeah, it's one of those things that's that you should flag and catalog throughout the course of his entire first season. And frankly, as long as he's the coach here doing that.
Yeah, I don't think that's not an unfair criticism or question. It is a question that all Titans fans should wait to be answered before having a blind trust that you're just going to get a Robert Saleh defense like you saw in San Francisco and in New York, and everything else is going to be all peachy. We don't know that yet. We've never seen Robert Saleh be a head coach and call defensive plays and do it successfully. How many are there currently in the NFL defensive play calling head coaches, Robert, outside of Mike McDonald? Todd Bowles calls plays defensively? Am I wrong in saying that?
I don't know the answer to that, honestly. They're far less publicized. Is Minter calling the defense in Baltimore?
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2.
I'm pretty sure Todd Bowles calls. I know Dan Quinn took over defensive play calling at one point last year, and they fired their defensive coordinator.
And Gannon did before he was relieved of his duties.
Continues to serve. Okay, Bowles continues to serve as the team's primary defensive play caller.
Sean McDermott did not?
He did.
He did.
Another note on this, and excuse me if you've mentioned this.
Somebody said Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell did it on offense. He fired his offensive coordinator, or he relegated his offensive coordinator before firing him at the season's end and then took over the offense.
The last 6 Super Bowls have featured Andy Reid 5 times, Kyle Shanahan twice, Nick Sirianni twice, Bruce Arians once, Sean McVay once, Zach Taylor once. All are offensive coordinating coaches.
That's crazy. And now we have a Super Bowl with 2 defensive-minded head coaches.
Mike Vrabel and Mike McDonald both coached defenses, obviously, before they became head coaches, making them the first defensive-oriented head coaches to lead a team to a Super Bowl since Belichick's final Super Bowl appearance against Dan Quinn 7 years ago.
Wow.
They have all been offensive-oriented coaches.
And neither Belichick nor Quinn were calling defensive plays, right?
Dan Quinn was.
Was he with the Falcons?
Yes, but they obviously lost.
Yeah.
Wow. Lost in dramatic fashion.
But again, I'm not worried about what it means for the Titans to win the Super Bowl. That would be a good problem. Let's create that good problem.
Sure. But, like, if they come away, let's just say, what's best case scenario in 2026? I would say 7-10. Like that feels what?
Well, best case scenario would be they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's hard to
my best case scenario.
Well, it's hard to do that because what would we have said best case scenario is for New England this year?
I think everyone's
6 wins.
We do this every time we talk about best case scenario. It is the best case scenario for any team in the NFL is that they win the Super Bowl.
Okay, but realistic best case scenario.
There you go.
We wouldn't have said that for New England.
No.
We would have never
saying 6 wins, 7 wins.
You would say it for any team in
Washington
the NFL.
2 years ago. We would have never said best case scenario is they're in the NFC
Like if you'd have asked me what's the best case scenario for the Ravens last year, I would have said Super Bowl.
If you would have asked me last year best case scenario for any NFL team, I would have said Super Bowl.
Okay, realistic best case scenario.
Thank you.
So many qualifiers. So just something to monitor as far as what this staff will have to account for, and I'm sure they are keenly aware of that. And if they're not, they will very soon have to figure it out. And I would hope this is a good question for Borgonzi. Frankly, it's a good question for both of them when we talk to him at the combine. Hey, was this brought up? Like, what is your level of confidence in him being able to do this? How do you account for that in the interview process if he's like, yeah, I want to call the defensive plays? And you're like,
Who is there someone that's considered, because we could talk for days about the best offensive play calling head coaches in NFL history, much less the best current ones. Is that a discussion, the best defensive play calling head coach in the history of the league?
Did Belichick never call plays? Am I crazy to think that
I think he's always had a coordinator.
It was Matt Patricia for quite a while. He was considered one of the best in the league.
His son was doing it for a period of time.
Was Gerard Mayo ever calling plays? He was he was a significant, big impact on that defense.
You would probably know that better than me.
But
in 2010 and 2019, Bill Belichick called plays. So he
only 2 years
have to be him. I think they were
out of 20.
certain circumstances that made him call it.
So I guess it would be him.
So in 2010, following Dean Pease' departure, he took over play calling, although Matt Patricia had a hand in it. And then 2019, he took direct control of play calling.
Interesting.
So a situation to monitor. A really good context there from Leslie Frazier. So if we don't talk to, when would be the next time that we would talk to either of them in a public setting? It would probably be Combine.
Yeah.
At the podium.
It'll be in Indy.
So anyway. We can circle back to that in, just 3 weeks. The other part of this is quarterback development from a coach with a defensive background, right? Titans fans will say, I think, a lot of them, maybe, I don't know how many, but do you think that Mike Vrabel should get credit for developing in some way, shape, or form Drake May? I think definitively yes. Now, it will be easy to discount that argument and be like, he's not the offensive play caller. He's not sitting in the meetings with Drake on a regular basis. He didn't play the quarterback position. He can't actively help him improve the position of quarterback. But if that is the logic there, then Robert Saleh will have no impact on Cam Ward whatsoever.
So what is Vrabel responsible for? Is it setting up the culture that's conducive for success around Drake May? Is it putting people in position to develop Drake May like Josh McDaniels?
Yes, personnel, staff hires, all these different things. The control that he has there that he didn't have as much here, even though he had more here at the end, all the things that he does as somebody who is basically running that organization without an ownership stake, to support Drake May, to further the development of Drake May. And
so it's because Vrabel is such a good general manager that Drake May has been so good this year.
What did they miss on this year? You want to give Elliott Wolf credit for that?
We will have to go back and look at their draft.
Has anybody seen Elliott Wolf? Has anybody done an interview with this guy? Has anybody seen this man?
He just did an interview with NBC Boston. Yeah. Okay. I did recover through our time machine audio of if Mike Vrabel loses in the Super Bowl, Buck jumping off of the pedestrian bridge.
What is that noise?
It's you jumping off the pedestrian bridge.
Was that me? Is that a sound that I made? Yes. In what context? Call the defensive plays. You're like,
Oh, no, Buck, no, Cookie, step away from the edge.
Pretty good. But seriously, if you're hiring leader of men and you have a young quarterback that you're trying to teach how to lead, is that not a part of the quarterback development? I'm not talking about specifically the position of quarterback. I'm talking about everything that it takes to be the franchise guy. Mike Vrabel was asked about working with Drake May and bringing Drake May along in an appearance with Taylor and Will. Bussing with the boys, they're up there cutting an interview, and this was the clip that Taylor recommended that we play.
Oh,
Not
my
that
bad.
one.
Sorry.
That's the other one.
Wrong one.
Good. And again, you have to understand he's young. And in his mind, he's like, I haven't done anything. And so I don't want to, lead or be out there if I haven't really done anything. I said, well, that's not really how it goes. I mean, you're the quarterback here, and you have to, there's certain things that you have to do. And he embraced that, respond to him, and him being the conductor. And, when the quarterback does stuff, then people are like, okay, we can, that's okay to do. It's okay to celebrate. It's okay to do these things. And we talked about everybody's personality being different. Certainly Drake's mindset is exactly what we want: the competitiveness, the energy, and the performance.
Why is it getting louder? That's so annoying.
You just had to have a Vrabel clip in there. That's just all that is. It's like we have to hear from Mike Vrabel.
Did you listen to what he said?
Sweet voice. No, I was distracted by the music.
I know it's annoying to have the music, but he's saying, I have to learn how to lead a bunch of grown-ass men. Mike Vrabel is giving him directions or helping him understand how to manage all manner of different personalities. Jeff was doing this a little bit for Cam, right? After the win in Cleveland, where Jeff Simmons is saying, don't be the Grinch. You don't understand how much this means to so many of these guys. I get you didn't outplay Shedeur Sanders in that particular moment, but you have to understand that you set the tone for all of us, even those of us who have been here longer than you. So is that not the kind of thing that you would like Robert Saleh to help Cam Ward with? Now, I'm not saying that they're exactly comparable coaches or anything like that, but to say that a defensive background head coach can't help in the development of a quarterback, the all-encompassing development, would be an argument that Saleh can't help Cam Ward, and I just don't think that's true.
Well, no, of course he can't. We are way too absolute in these things, man. We're way too absolute in who gets credit for what, right? Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. It's got to be one or the other.
Well, it is definitively Brady.
Well, good luck getting in first ballot Hall of Fame, Brady, because that trend is not going in your favor. But okay, sure. But what about those early? What about the first 3 Super Bowls of the Bill Belichick era in New England, and how good those can we go back? We can go back and look at Brady's numbers in those Super Bowls. We just have to be so absolute in these things. Of course, the head coach will have an impact on the quarterback, regardless of if he's an offensive or defensive-minded head coach.
Should. You have to have somebody who's formative and willing to take those lessons.
Of course, situations. We don't have to hear Mike Vrabel say that. Yes, the head coach has an impact on the quarterback.
He's the coach in the Super Bowl that most recently coached here with a basically similar situation to what every Titans fan is trying to cosplay themselves into in 2026. And you think it has zero bearing on how badly things have gone here? That's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous.
They got to the Super Bowl with the step that Drake May took and what he had in his offensive coordinator and Josh McDaniels. Of course, that's what
not exclusively. They have not gotten
like I said,
to the Super Bowl.
Absolute. It's not absolute.
Correct.
But of course, that's what any team with a defensive-minded head coach is
looking for. So why are you so obstinate to the idea that everything that was done in New England that they imported up there, a lot of which was here, is not a huge part of the reason collectively, the context, the nuance across the board, that team is now playing in a Super Bowl beyond they had the easiest strength of schedule to get them into the postseason?
Because I know you, and I know it's more about bringing up Vrabel to piss off people than it is about having a productive conversation.
Well, sure. But I got to have a little fun. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll update the polls next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. So the NBA trade deadline is right around the corner, and we don't do a lot of NBA around here. The Grizzlies traded away Jaren Jackson Jr. and a couple of other pieces for some first-round picks yesterday. Adam Schefter is now tweeting NBA news because of the seismic shift in some of these teams. Shams just reported that the Mavs, who famously, are we just a year removed? A little more than a year removed from them trading away Luka? Mavs are trading 10-time NBA All-Star Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, who is shocking to still find out that D'Angelo Russell is still playing in the NBA, and Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham? I'm unfamiliar. And Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders. It's a lot of movement at the NBA trade deadline this year. Have you watched any basketball at all this year?
None other than the little bit Megan and I watched going to the Heat game on Sunday.
It was fun?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
My first NBA game.
Ever?
Somehow I have never been to an NBA game. I don't know how that's possible.
Around here, it's not like there's...
I don't know how I haven't made it to FedEx Forum. I've always wanted to go to a Grizz game.
That was your first NBA game ever.
That's what you just said.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how I mean, that's the product of growing up in Nashville and Birmingham, I guess. But yeah, never.
They're fun. NBA games are a lot of fun.
I have a great time. I mean, we used to, and they're actually pretty cost effective. Maybe that was just Pacers games in college, but like we would go see Roy Hibbert, Paul George, and Lance Stevenson against the Miami, the Heatles, LeBron and Dwayne Wade and stuff like that for like $30 to get in.
See, I think we're both just jaded because we were in poor NBA cities. I was in Charlotte.
Well, yeah,
Hornets tickets, they're giving them away with a Wendy's 4 for $4. Like
you don't know if they're the Bobcats that day or the Hornets the next.
I've been to that was the best thing they could ever do was going back to the Hornets, like the Bobcats, the stink that was on that team. It was a terrible logo. Like,
but is that Jordan? Who did that?
I think it was
Jordan was still the owner when they went back.
It was some convolution of terrible mistakes. But I remember seeing a Houston Rockets James Harden go bonkers on a terrible Hornets team. NBA games are fun. I dig that.
No, I almost went to the Cavs Warriors game when the Titans played the Browns this year. I had the Fox show. Otherwise, I would have gone.
That is one sport that at college, I don't think you can replicate your time in college after. Like, you can go back to your college football games and relive it just like when you were a student, screaming, tailgating before, but you cannot replicate being in college and going to watch your team play in college. Like, you could never go back to Tennessee and be like jumping, screaming, crazy student section. Like, you wouldn't be able to go back and do that the same way you did when you were a student. You would not wear a banana suit to Indiana basketball games like you did when you were a student. You're sitting up in the seats, being very calm, sitting on your hands, clapping. No, you may holler, but you're not doing the same thing you were doing when you were a kid.
Buddy, I saw them beat a middling Wisconsin team. I was drunk as I've ever been at an Indiana basketball game as a college student. We went to Knicks to pregame. My sister was appalled by how much I drank.
There's no way that you were as drunk.
Not as drunk. I didn't hotbox a banana suit, zip it up, and then watch Christian Watford hit a buzzer beater over Anthony Davis.
I didn't do that. That's what I'm saying.
I also wasn't behind the basket.
Like, you can replicate it in college baseball, too. You go to a baseball game, have some peanuts, drink some beers with your buddy in the parking lot. Like, it's about the same, but basketball, not the same.
I think do you guys want to go to an Indiana game? I go every year when I'm at the Combine. They're actually not terrible.
Who do they play?
I'll look it up.
But I wouldn't hate that.
It's a great time. Kirby almost went with me last year and then backed out for some reason.
If I order us all banana suits, would you
wear it?
Okay.
If you want to see me actually be a sports fan, we're going to an Indiana basketball.
I would love that.
They host Northwestern on the Tuesday of Combine Week.
Nerds.
We made them the losingest program in college football history with this season. We'll stick it to them in basketball, too. Ooh, I'm excited.
I would like to see
how the better conferences live in basketball?
Assembly Hall. Yeah, I would like to go to any historic venue is cool.
Who's out there? Is that Blaine?
Hitman's at the window.
Just peering in.
Here's Johnny. Is there a more terrifying person to see looking through the glass at you? Yeah. I mean, it would definitely be Blaine.
I get happy when I see Blaine.
No, Blaine just puts a smile on my face. You know, I'm sure if we got on Blaine's bad side, that would happen.
I guess it depends who is doing the viewing.
It depends on who's on this side. I did polls, didn't I? I think I did. Yeah, it's like a 30-minute ride.
Presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. What is the most interesting storyline of Super Bowl week to Titans fans? Madison says wanting the head coach that got fired to have success because 90% of us liked him while simultaneously looking for the closest bridge in case he wins the Super Bowl in his first season.
You think I'm bad?
I will say 90% of fans liked him.
90%.
Yeah, go back and listen to some of our Titans talk back. It got toxic there at the end of the year. And
sure.
I remember sitting there telling people, guys, they're not going to fire Mike Vrabel. And then they fired Mike Vrabel.
Just the general malaise of your neck there.
Like
the
how dismissive.
It was very dismissive.
We didn't think they'd be that dumb.
John says Vrabel. Jay says Dr. Gibby, obviously.
Sure. Spillane.
Dr. Gibby gave up his Super Bowl hat to Robert Kraft. Did you guys see that?
It was lovely.
Kraft wanted a hat, and Gibby was like, "No, sir, you can have my hat."
Gibby also ensuring job security for the rest of his life if he wants it. Yeah, you remember
want
that?
A special teams coaching job?
I gave you that hat. Remember that one time I gave you the hat?
What is the most interesting storyline of Super Bowl week 2? I just read that one. Just read it. Or did you...
Did I
put it out there
polls?
Twice, you Vrabel lover?
Did I?
Yeah, you only put... Oh, fair or foul. Joey Agalar is the Vols' best option at QB next year.
Read your Tennessee propaganda poll.
68% say fair.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, to me, best case scenario. For sure. Those are the polls.
All right, very good. That is going to do it. There was the dumbest thing in sports this week, but we don't have to get into that. That is going to do it for us today. Robert and I will be back on primetime tonight. Maybe we talk a little bit about Gus Bradley, coaching experience. We'll see you at 7.